How you doing today?
All right. You have any ID on you? Getting calls of suspicious people again, so
Would that
I know
be
you're over there by the library, so...
Would that be a misdemeanor or a felony?
What?
Suspicion.
Well, you're...
Because according to 34285,
right,
3.5, I'm not.
Now you're on private property, though.
No, this is a sidewalk.
But you were over here earlier.
No, I wasn't.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. What you're about to witness is another intense encounter that shows exactly what happens when authority meets someone who actually understands their rights. It begins like many of these situations do: a calm afternoon, a man standing on a public sidewalk with a camera, and a police officer who believes he has the power to demand identification without justification. Now listen carefully, because the officer immediately starts throwing around vague accusations about suspicious activity, attempting to pressure the man into handing over his ID. But here's where things start getting interesting. The citizen calmly pushes back, questioning the officer's legal authority and demanding a clear explanation. Right away you can sense the tension building, because when someone challenges authority with knowledge of the law, the situation quickly shifts from routine questioning to a battle over rights, power, and accountability.
Okay, that's what they're...
The camera doesn't lie.
Okay. Well,
So,
are you gonna let me see your camera?
so according to this...
Are you going to let me see your camera?
No.
Okay, so I don't know.
Not
Your
I
word
mean,
against theirs, right?
Not unless you're going to arrest me for something.
You have your ID on you?
This code right here, specifically,
nothing to
yes.
do- what's it say?
Huh?
What
It's
is it?
35285.3.5,
Right.
failure to ID. It only says I have to ID if I'm being charged with a crime. Do you suspect me of a crime?
Yeah, trespassing.
Show, I need, what's your reasonable articulable
Do you have
suspicion?
ID?
What is your reasonable articulable
asking you for ID.
suspicion?
I'm asking you for ID.
What is your reasonable articulable
'Cause I asked
suspicion?
you.
I'm not under any requirement.
What's that?
That's my Fifth Amendment right.
What's that got to do with
I'm
it?
invoking it to remain silent. I'm not going to waive it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to speak to you without my lawyer at this point.
Well, you want to call him?
I don't answer questions.
See, now you don't want to talk to him. I'm going to read this, okay? You want to go...
What's your badge number, sir?
Property?
What's your badge number, sir?
3900.
You've been very professional. Thank you.
I know. See, like I said, the complaint we had was using video in cars in here.
What's your name, sir?
Where?
What's your badge number?
6671.
Are you ILEA certified?
Yes.
So you would know about asking for ID.
You don't want to answer mine,
You're a
I'm not
public
gonna
servant.
answer
You have to.
No,
You're under
no.
an obligation. You're a public servant.
No, you can talk
Public
to my
servant.
chief.
Bring him down here. I'd love
No,
to.
You can talk to him.
Okay, I'll go there next.
Stop in it right down the road.
Yeah, I'm not going to go in the building, but if he wants to come outside, that'd be great.
That's a public building. You can't go to the lobby. Is fine.
Well, this is a public building. I mean,
But it's also private property.
it uses government resources.
But it's
So,
also
but
private.
This is where the conversation starts turning into a legal chess match. The officer claims there were calls about suspicious individuals near the library and begins insisting on identification. But the man doesn't just blindly comply. Instead, he calmly references the law and points out something extremely important: failure to identify statutes usually apply only when someone is actually suspected of committing a crime. So naturally he asks the officer the key question: what crime do you suspect me of committing? And suddenly, the officer's confidence begins to slip. Instead of clearly articulating reasonable suspicion, the officer starts stumbling through vague statements about trespassing. But here's the problem: the man insists he's standing on a public sidewalk, a place where citizens have every legal right to be. This moment perfectly highlights a common issue, when authority relies on intimidation instead of clear legal justification.
if they said I'm over here, this is still public access. You realize that?
private property.
You
If they don't want you on their property,
look,
they can say
handicaps. Nobody's come out here and said that, and I have to be given the right to leave. Nobody's come out here and asked me to leave.
I can
If
ask
you're going to
you
say
to-
for
that's all right.
trespassing,
You just-
if you're going to say trespassing, I have to be given the right to leave. Nobody's asked me to leave.
Well, when I was talking to you earlier,
Yes, sir.
it was a little unusual because we don't have someone walk around videotape, so just out of the ordinary. Why I was down there earlier, so I haven't been in to talk with them there, but it could be that they're a little bit afraid to come out because you never know these days what'll happen.
What do you mean what'll happen? I have I have a Nikon, not a Canon.
I understand, but
I mean,
but I'm just saying, how they, people doing things nowadays. You don't know if somebody's got a weapon on them, if they're gonna.
oh, I'm totally unarmed.
Okay.
I mean, I'll give you that. I mean, I have no weapons on me whatsoever.
Because sometimes people do a lot of research, before they That's why
This is Division of Family Resources, not to mention the WIC building.
Oh,
This is a government entity. If they rent space out of here and they have a public parking area, it's public.
Start getting even more intense. The man begins asserting his constitutional rights, including his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Instead of continuing to answer questions that may lead nowhere, he clearly states that he will not speak further without legal counsel. And this is where the dynamic becomes fascinating. The officer expected compliance, but instead he's facing someone who knows the system and isn't afraid to stand his ground. The man then flips the situation around by requesting the officer's badge number and identifying information. That moment alone completely changes the tone of the interaction. Suddenly the officer is the one being questioned. It's a powerful reminder that law enforcement officers are public servants, accountable to the public they serve. When citizens calmly assert their rights and request accountability, the entire balance of power in these encounters can shift dramatically.
Well, it's public access.
Yeah, public access, which means I have a right to be on it if I need to be on it.
Right.
If I want to walk through here and walk around and do the horseshoe, that's fine. That's my business to be on here to see if the WIC office is maintaining their property. Okay. If the taxpayer dollars is getting the trash out of here, making sure it's not, there's not enough parking. Everybody's parking on the streets. Everybody's parking where they're not supposed to be parking. So if I wanted to walk through here and count all the parking spaces, nobody can tell me no. Okay. I have business on the property if I was even on the property, which I was not.
You stayed on the sidewalk?
Other than when a guy was walking with his child, I entered the public easement area over on this side.
There, yeah. Okay.
Yes. I've never where you're standing.
Right. I know, but you understand.
Over on this side.
There, yeah. Okay.
Yes. I've never where you're standing.
Right. I know, but you understand, he just asked you for ID to know who you are, so we know you're not a convicted felon, criminal, anybody that would have bad intentions.
How do I know you're not?
Well, because I am in uniform.
Well, that doesn't mean you don't have any internal affairs, investigations upon you or him for criminal activity.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we wouldn't be working the street if we had criminal activity suspicion.
I have no idea. I don't know what your policies are.
Okay. I know you said you're not from around here, so. So you from Indiana?
Yeah.
Okay.
It turns into a full discussion about public versus private property. The officer insists the area may be private property, trying to justify his demand for identification and possible trespassing concerns. But the man pushes back again, explaining that the location is tied to government offices and funded by taxpayer dollars. In many situations like this, areas that appear private are actually public access spaces. The man carefully explains that if he chooses to walk through the area, document conditions, or simply observe how taxpayer-funded facilities operate, that is completely within his rights. He even points out issues like parking conditions and accessibility concerns for disabled citizens. What you're seeing here is more than just an argument with a police officer. It's a citizen demonstrating how public oversight works in a free society.
See, it's just, what I'm saying is we would be gone already. Just show an ID, you're legit, everything's cool, we're out of here.
But I haven't broken a law.
I understand, but that's what the way the call came in about being in it.
But where's the proof?
We'll figure that out, don't worry.
I'll say, where's the proof?
I understand that's what he was checking.
Okay. Am I being detained?
I don't believe so.
So I'm free to go.
He's got your card there.
I've got a dozen more.
Do you?
I just need that one because it has his fingerprints on it.
Okay. Sure.
Or he can have it, whichever I determine.
Yeah, it's your card, so.
But I'm not being detained.
I'm not detaining you, no.
Is he detaining me?
He didn't say he was, so. It's kind of.
And the other guy, where's the red vehicle? The fire commissioner. You just guys allow him to park all over the sidewalk whenever he, kind of like this guy, to block the sidewalk. I noticed down there at the fire station, him and another vehicle block.
The red one?
Yeah, they block. I'm handicapped, so they block the pedestrian throughway so that way citizens have to walk in the street.
I've seen that. I know what you're talking about.
Not only that, but this guy did.
Point another officer joins the conversation, and the strategy shifts slightly. Instead of focusing on legal authority, the officers attempt to appeal to convenience. They suggest that if the man simply shows identification, everything will be easier and everyone can go home. But here's the key principle many people overlook. Rights don't disappear simply because compliance might make things easier. The man repeatedly explains that he has not broken any law and therefore has no obligation to identify himself. The officers argue that the initial call from concerned individuals justified their presence. But again, suspicion alone does not equal a crime. This exchange perfectly demonstrates how quickly law enforcement encounters can blur the line between voluntary cooperation and unlawful demands.
It too, when he pulled up to go talk to him. Oh, you even got that on footage. This guy, the canine unit.
Canine? Okay.
Yeah, pulled up, pulled in sideways, backed
I don't
in.
know who started that down there. Gosh, that's been ever since I've been here. The fire chiefs always pull. I don't know why they like to park in that front.
So they're exempt from the law.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is there's not. It's a whole driveway out. The sidewalk's not. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's
like
tapered.
This.
Yeah, it's tapered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of.
But it's still a pedestrian throughway, because there's no garage door in the way.
Not in front of the. Right. Not in front of the.
Right. Thank you, sir. Am I being detained?
We're just waiting to see if they want you no trespass.
So am I being detained?
You are till they tell us.
What
that you
crime
want
do
no
you
trespass.
suspect me it's committing?
What did I just tell you?
I'd like your supervisor out here. Call a supervisor because you're illegally detaining me. You cannot show me. You cannot show me what I'm doing wrong. Are you illegally detaining me?
We'll find you.
I'm in a
am I
bright.
holding you?
I'm a bright freaking vest. Of course you're going to find me.
Am I holding you?
I'm asking if I'm being detained.
Am I holding you?
Am I being detained?
Am I detaining you?
Am I being detained?
Am I detaining
Or
you?
am I free to go?
Bye.
If I'm free to go, I'm free to stay, right?
Bye. On the sidewalk, right?
I've always been on the sidewalk
Okay.
or the public easement.
How long is your battery good for?
Considering I have several battery backups.
Now the situation escalates even further when the officers suddenly claim the man is being detained while they determine whether the property owners want him trespassed. And this is where things get serious. The man immediately challenges the detention, repeatedly asking the officers to clearly state what crime he is suspected of committing. That's a crucial question in any lawful detention. Without reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime, detaining someone becomes legally questionable. The man calmly but firmly calls for a supervisor, accusing the officers of illegally detaining him. You can hear the frustration building on both sides. The officers try to maintain control of the situation, while the citizen continues demanding a lawful explanation. Moments like this reveal just how important it is for both citizens and officers to fully understand the limits of police authority.
Backups. About 18 hours.
At least you got a nice day.
Excuse me, sir.
Huh?
I said, excuse me, I don't want to walk between you guys and get shot or tased.
Well, I guarantee
I'm gonna go
we're
that
not gonna
way.
Shoot at each other with you walking between
Well,
us.
I just want to make sure I'm giving you
you
notice
got plenty
because
of
I want to see if there's any emergency lights
You got
on.
Plenty of path there. Emergency lights, you.
Yeah, I mean he's well. A lot of times the officers, no lights in the front, emergency lights in the rear. He doesn't have any emergency lights. He's parked in a no parking area. I just want to see.
No parking sign?
You tell me.
See a no parking sign.
Okay. I do see him blocking the driveway though. The entry
Where?
right there on the curve. If I was parked there, I'd get a ticket. But I don't see the emergency.
Okay. All right. Well, they don't want you on the property, so as long as you stay off the property.
Well,
you're good.
don't shoot anybody, don't tase anybody, don't sick your dog, and don't beat your wife either.
Eventually the tension begins to cool as the officers receive clarification from the people inside the building. The message is simple: the man is not welcome on the property itself, but he is free to remain on the public sidewalk. That distinction is extremely important. Public sidewalks are generally considered traditional public forums where citizens have broad constitutional protections, including the right to record and observe government activity. The man makes it clear that he has been standing on the sidewalk the entire time and intends to continue exercising his rights there. The officers, realizing they lack a strong legal basis to push the situation further, begin stepping back. What started as an aggressive demand for identification slowly fades into a reluctant acknowledgement that the man has not broken any laws.
Hello guys, welcome back, and today I am going to start now trading. Here you can see this live chat, and I am going with live chat trading. Okay, you can see this. I am going downside trades. Perfectly win. You know, and you can see this going to very bad. Not bad, good, but मार्केट में बहुत फ्लक्चुएशन है. And I'm going to end my video because some reasons. Bye bye.